Well, okay. So we got a presentation, huh?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. More value. Getting back to the original formula. They say I lost my way. I hear you. Fuck up and body stop.
Let's do it.
Some of y'all had y'all panties in a bunch when I told y'all video could go down to 112 or 107. And, you know, we are getting kind of close to that price. I keep telling everyone in investing, but especially in Red Panda, kudos and thank you to everyone who joined over the last week. We base off of intelligence, data, pricing, and not emotion. We invest off intelligence, data, pricing, and not emotion. Now, I want to be very clear. I think NVIDIA is still one of the greatest companies of all time. Jensen is one of the better CEOs that we've seen in this era. I'm not going to lie. When he started signing them titties, though, at the conference, I was like, I don't know. This may present a problem or two. But, and then a couple people was like, yo, you didn't show the analysis and charting of why. That's not my obligation. It's not my obligation for everything that I say to be like, yo, here's the stochastic levels. It's like, all right. But, you know, since people ask, here we go. If we look, a good indicator to use, let me click on it for you, is high, and these are my fibs, excuse me. Are the high and low for the month. Another reason why I quit sharing as much visually, you know, because people stealing my shit. But anyway, high and low for the month. So the previous low for the month coming in was 112. Okay? And then also, if you put your Fibonacci levels on NVIDIA, you can see that 78.6 line. Well, I talked about this yesterday on Stock Club Call, the 618 golden ratio ain't so golden. Maybe back in the day it was. To the person who made the golden ratio, I appreciate all your contributions to Fibonacci and the Fibonacci wave and the spiral and all that shit. But it does not matter as much now because the 618 just penetrated. Pause. Shaq, you a wild boy. You better stop. You barbecue chicken now. And then go to the 50%. And notice how close the price of 110.97 is to that monthly low, which is 112. And then also, if we look here at the 50-day moving average, the price is 106 in Park. And then if we look real quick, NVIDIA CEO Jensen sold $95 million worth of stock. I wouldn't be mad. Listen, if I ran the company for 20-some years, I want to take some profits too. But we also have to look in consideration that a bunch of employees who have been there are now leaving. Some of their top talent has become millionaires. They're selling off, leaving. He sold 720,000 shares from June 13th through the 21st for $94.6 million. I wouldn't be mad either, and I wouldn't give a damn if the stock dropped 20% either. If I was him, he has earned that for sure. So you can't be mad at that. But when you are looking at price, and I know some people may get it confused, I am a trader that learned investing first. So price to me is everything. And as a person who's been on this stock for a long time, I wouldn't have to remind me. I first mentioned it publicly in 2017. Let me show you. To the good folks over at Rolling Now, I appreciate you. Let's see. Let's go through, which is a classic. If you really want a great blueprint on investing, you definitely should go through this article anyway. When I talked about buying shares of company, Facebook, now Meta, voila, numero uno. Oh, look at that. Numero uno. Shout out to everybody at Meta. Amazon, pow, fucking killing. Apple, Netflix, NVIDIA. Ain't that something? When you was doing this shit before it got popular to do this shit online. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I was talking about it before in 2017. So once again, I've been afforded the luxury to be able to have some insights and relationships with people who work in certain industries. and with my own analysis and reading, it really helps a lot if you read 50 pages a day. Now it's at 118.76. You can see some things. And also when you are actually an investor in the stocks that you're talking about, what it does do is allow you the ability to understand how price moves when you actually own. It's one thing to say hodl. It's a different thing when you are holding on for dear life and that shit's in your portfolio and you may go through a winter for 3 or 4 months. Apple went through a winter for 3 or 4 months. And everyone was like, is it over? And now they've rebounded. Well, NVIDIA rebound. I want to be very clear. Yes. But when you invest based off data, intelligence, and price, and take the emotion out of it, you know any stock on earth can get cut in half. Any stock. But then if you slide over and do a little bit of research, it's one of my favorite sites, Y charts. Go look at what the maximum drawdown over the last 5 years. Maximum drawdown for NVIDIA is 66.34%. So this little dip that we having right now, this ain't shit. This is nothing in comparison to where it could go in worst case scenario. And as an investor, you have to think about what happens in the worst case scenario. A lot of times when you guys hear me doing this analysis and saying, hey, things are going to fall apart, it's not because I'm looking for a hot take. Shout out to old boy like, yo, you say anything for likes on social media. Google my net worth, my boy. There's no money in hot takes in social media. None. All the people that had all the hot takes, the show's falling apart. Shout out to Adam 22. Hey, that's not the point. Here's what I'm learning. Some of y'all who say that shit just don't read. And it's easier to talk shit online than it is to get in this bag and get in these books and actually invest at the right price. So when you start to understand what the drawdowns could be, it makes a hell of a difference. Then let's go and look at maybe 10 years worth of drawdowns. And at this point, this is a 60% plus drawdown. This wasn't that long ago. Was it not? October of 2022 when the whole world was falling apart. And this is when, around the time that Facebook changed their name from Meta, to Meta, if you will. Here, 53.04%. This is investing based off intelligence and data, not rhetoric or what I think. 2019. Still 2 years after I talked about it publicly and rolling out. Okay. You go here, negative 55%. So it's a miracle at the time when I was initially talking about it. If you think Tesla was incredibly volatile, this was worse and it didn't have the fanfare. Now, if you go all the way back to the beginning, the maximum drawdown was 89.73% on October 9th of 2022. And it took 1,032 trading recessions for it to recover. 1,032 trading sessions for it to recover. The current NVIDIA drawdown is 6.65%. So my homework assignment for you is for any stock that you are invested in, any crypto, what is the average drawdown over a 5 and 10 year period? And what is the average drawdown over a quarterly? And for those of you that actually can chart, if you put on a 20-day, 50-day, 72 EMA, you will be able to see precisely most of these prices that I am talking about. Capiche? Okay. So the case for NVIDIA going to 112 is not. And then also too, on the 21st of June, futures contracts switched over. That's always a period where new money will stop investing at a certain period of time and it comes back in after the new contracts are formed. You have to take that in consideration. You have to take in consideration when quad or triple witching is happening. That has an impact. As a long-term investor, it really doesn't matter. But if you're buying at a high, you're going to die. So anybody who didn't want to listen, great. I'm getting messages from some of you right now. You bought at 130 or 134. Hey, what should I do? You should have listened. Buy at whatever price. The great part is long-term, and we'll talk about it later. The S&P is up, has not had a tremendous drawdown in a while. Just hold for the long term and you will be fine. Investing is not that damn hard. Say it with me. Investing is not that damn hard. Jabroni. Shit. But, you know, if you put on your little charts, and one simple one, even if you're not the greatest technician, is it's high and low for the month. And it'll tell you where we could draw down to over the month. Maybe Starbucks is in trouble. Howard Schultz, please come back. Whatever version of crack y'all was putting in the cup, go re-up from Freeway Ricky Ross or somebody and put it back in immediately, please. And this is what happens when you lose your way. Revenue fell 2% in the most recent period. But now when you see you're having to discount products at scale to try and bring the revenue up, that's never a good sign that the stock is doing well. Let me go to Starbucks chart real quick. And we're finally getting to some truth about if we are in a recession or not. But if we look here for this month, went from 83 down to 79, which probably isn't the biggest drop to most people. But look here, we are getting back to levels that we were in October of 22. We can agree unanimously that everyone was negatively affected by what was happening in 22, and October and November was the low. On the inverse, Meta recovered, Nvidia recovered, Tesla recovered for a little bit. Starbucks is back there, and they're getting pretty close to these lows of 2020. It's just been gross mismanagement. And then, of course, once again, people have not been treated well, and the experience is not as great as it used to be. And Dutch Brothers is on your ass. You have to constantly innovate no matter what is happening in the market. You can never, please write this down, never take your leadership position for granted. Then you start looking at the numbers and saying, okay, revenue of 3 years, 15%. I don't know. Market cap is good. Margins are pretty good, 27%. But the price target that most analysts have it for is 90, and I don't disagree as much. But here's a great thing. Let's look at drawdowns, going back to that word. They are currently, we're in a decent area where we should be buying, or be at least looking to buy. The prices for Starbucks are in Stock Club. But May 3rd of 2024, they got to 42% drawdown from the high. 2022, the drawdown was 42.5%. And then in 2020, the max slowdown was 42.94%. So they are in like historic lows, as I just showed you on the chart. Do I think they can recover? Yes. But when people are like, well, certain stores will never go away, just because they don't go away, it does not mean that it is a great investment. You still have some stores that are surviving by a string. It doesn't mean that I want to put my money into them to invest for the long term. So when you combine the fundamental data that we talked about last week with the technical this week, and then we start looking at what the drawdown, it tells you when you should be looking to invest. But guess what? If they rip the lid off of it and say, hey, we've been in a recession, but we just didn't want to say anything, then maybe, just maybe, a lot more stocks will come down. But it's a lot easier to say we are in a specific type of recession where it's only affecting those who have the least amount of money to stop the complete collapse of everything that we're seeing right in front of our faces. The biggest thing I really want to reiterate is the market is permanently rigged to stay up. So if you take all the guessing out of it, there isn't much that you need to do. I mean, look at this. This is the S&P 500. And as much talk as people have, and that's why I tell everyone, Stock Club, stop focusing on the noise. The noise does not pay you. This is since 2008, and we've had a steady climb through recession, inflation, presidential changes in Senate, changes in Congress, changes in the characters in power. Everything on earth has happened. And as a result, I keep saying the stock market is one of the few places on earth where the 1% of the 1% tell you that this thing is guaranteed to go up, and it does. 2 tech, 2 index, no stress. I know some of y'all, have people messaging y'all like, oh, why y'all still watching Market Mondays? You gonna stop? Listen, because this shit work. That's why. Opened up at 48.18. Great. We're now at 55.48. My S&P target for the year was 5,600, wasn't that? Top of the year? No. SPY, to give you a full comparison, it's at 545, which is crazy. Like that index at some point probably will have to do a stock split because the main driver of that ETF is going to be too pricey. Please hold for the long term. Anything else is noise. Anything else is noise. And I know at times there may be people that are trying to detract you or distract you from listening to me. I know. All of a sudden, everyone's a motherfucking NVIDIA fan. I got you. Follow the blueprint, and you will be able to get rich in the market. And if I've made you money, please let me get a guess in chat. I love y'all. I don't think there's too much more to say. A couple analysts are becoming bullish on Delta. Still don't like airline stocks. That has not changed. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. And notice how the entire space is falling right now. The correlation between NVIDIA falling. This is Bitcoin's chart. And then if I go to NVIDIA, there is a small correlation there. Let me look at AMD. AMD is pushing up. But if we're going to be very honest, like wherever NVIDIA goes, the rest of the space will go because they're the number one leader in that space. So just be mindful. For those of you who are fearful about buying Bitcoin now, is it too pricey? Is it over levered? Stop buying at these highs. It's my only piece of advice to you. When it's at a high, it is the wrong time to buy. In this zone, it is not the right place to buy. And if you put on that high, that monthly high and low, it'll literally tell you where not to touch the damn stock or the asset. Super simple. Super simple. And one last tip, if you want to then be able to get a bigger edge, go to a lower time frame and use your EMAs, your 20 or your 50 or your 72. The 72 I love the most, and then buy when it gets there. But stop letting people trick you out of your spot. Love y'all. Over and out. Join Stock Club if you want to get rich in the market. And for the rest of this presentation, that will be posted exclusively in Stock Club, where I will be talking to you about the 8 stocks that I called for this year and if they changed, why you need to master one target to change your life. A bunch of other indicators that I love the most, and how to use one site the way that you would use a Bloomberg terminal to give you an edge in the market. Love y'all. Over and out.
Okay. There you have it.
What a time.
What a time to be alive.
Outstanding.
Thank
Yes.
Yeah.
Another excellent presentation. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
you. Of course.
Incredible.
Knowing how far a company can draw down is key, because it'll give you a good indication of when to buy.
NVIDIA 107 or 112, whichever one you feel most comfortable.
Yep. Or y'all can buy, for those of you who bought at whatever price you wanted to. Them IGM was aggressive this morning. And yo, King, when do you think it's going to hit the link, ianinvest.com. If you want to know where the market is going to fall to, go to ianinvest.com. I got you.